Number one Ibble Dibble here. Hello, friends. So, by popular request, I'm commenting on this whole H&M car chase situation. If you want to hear from me because I'm a New Yorker, abso-fucking-lutely. Let's walk through their night. First, they arrive at the Ziegfeld Ballroom. A bit about the ballroom. It is not the famous Ziegfeld Theater built in 1927, where you would see the Follies. That was demolished in 1966, for those of you who liked my Long Island accent. Here is an educated but not particularly upper-class Manhattan non-rhotic from 1966.
The Ziegfeld Theatre is being demolished, a remarkable and unusual building that deserved a better fate.
But even the 1969 building, which is ugly on the outside, was pretty luxurious inside, what they used to call a movie palace, a single screen with almost 1,200 seats. And there were tons of premieres there over the decades with really, really big stars. They would usually set up the step and repeat outside in the little plaza, or sometimes if they got permission, just on the sidewalk. This might be interesting to a non-New Yorker. To protect the celebrities from stalkers, gawkers, and other members of the public, they actually set up these opaque closed tents connected directly to the front door of the theater. I guess stars are more concerned about their safety than they were in the 90s. Also, probably they can control the lighting better. But yeah, this is what it looks like inside the press tent. And if the stars want to greet their fans, they can do so with their own security teams outside. In 2016, the Ziegfeld Theater went through another makeover, in my opinion, a terrible renovation, to a corporate events and wedding venue. They were losing $1 million a year on the theater. They just couldn't keep it going. So they no longer host film premieres, and the stars are no longer as shiny. I think, given the Ziegfeld's history, Meghan might have thought this was a more glamorous event than it ended up being, and that may have led to some of her excessive attention seeking. The stars at this event are not A-list celebrities, not even close. They're not supposed to be. These are activists and philanthropists. Mostly. Some D and Z list grifters, of course, also showed up. So they didn't bother planning for photographers outside. You can easily see in these stills from the Reuters live coverage that the red carpet was actually inside the ballroom itself. You can also see that all the other guests are posing on a red carpet, but these clowns are posing on a black carpet because they're such snobs. They requested their own private step and repeat station. Okay, so let me tell you why I am very sure H&M called the paparazzi on themselves. All the big photo agencies, Alamy, Getty, Reuters, Shutterstock, send staff photographers out for jobs like this. Additionally, for obvious reasons, the event host hires their own private photographer. And that's exactly what I see on all the photo credits in the newspaper. The Ms. Foundation hired Envision, and the big agency stock photographers showed up. Because the big agencies are directly photographing the event and directly selling those photographs as part of huge, cheap licensing packages to all web and print media outlets, there's no value for a paparazzo to realize by photographing arrivals. It's just going to be a worse picture of the same people in the same dress and the same makeup. Where they make their money is following the celebrities after the award ceremony to see if they go to a restaurant, a party, a nightclub. Do they go to a 5-star hotel? Do they change outfits? Do they collect their children? Do they go to a celebrity hotspot? Do they meet up with any other celebrities? Do they get so twisted they embarrass themselves in public? If the Pops were planning on doing this with H&M, they would have shown up towards the end of the awards ceremony to catch them leaving. They would not have bothered being there for their arrival. The fact that they were, and the fact that there were only a few of them, indicates to me that Meghan called. You can see in this video of them arriving that there are more security guards than professional photographers. I only counted 3 professional photographers. It's mostly gawkers with cell phones. Another clue is the extremely gratuitous way they entered the building. Let me give you a little Google tour of the Ziegfeld Ballroom. Okay, we are on 54th Street. This is the front door. When Liza Minnelli showed up in a Halston gown, fur coat, with both Desi Arnaz's junior and senior for the premiere of Cabaret, her limo pulled up between the great-great-great-great-grandparents of those 2 orange cones, and she walked, What do you think? 10 steps? 15 maybe? Into that front door. Why H&M didn't feel they could do the same, especially with the number of security guards they had in tow, eludes me. The only sensible explanation is that they actually wanted to get themselves into weird situations to be photographed, or they genuinely had a promotional deal with Hertz. Because the Hertz entrance is literally the worst way for them to get into the theater. They could have walked in the front door like human beings, as we've said. As you can see in this photo, there's a pedestrian plaza that goes all the way through to 55th Street. So if they wanted to maximize their pretend paparazzi stalking time, they would have popped out on 55th Street and walked through the plaza. If they actually genuinely wanted to protect their privacy and safety and not be seen, there is yet another option. Remember, this is an old theater. It has emergency doors on either side of the stage that bring you into a fireproof stairwell and out onto street level. You can see clearly in this picture that there is a door in the parking garage that also connects to this emergency stairwell. There's probably more than one. They're definitely on both sides of the building. This is a 2-floor underground parking garage. There must be an entrance to the stairwell on the lower level as well. If H&M truly wanted to be 1000% safe and unseen, they would have stayed in their SUV as it entered the garage, driven down to the lower level of the garage, entered the emergency stairwell there, and walked up 2 flights of stairs. They could wear flip-flops and change their shoes in the green room. No one would have seen them. A bunch of their security team is Secret Service. They know how to case a building. They knew this. They didn't make it happen because H&M didn't want it to happen. H&M wanted to be seen and photographed. Still, why wouldn't they want to be seen and photographed at the front door or the side door on the plaza? Both are much more visually appealing. I believe Hertz gave them use of their fleet of SUVs in exchange for these shit-eating grin and Hertz photos. If they're so scared of paparazzi outside the window, why is every single member of the family smiling like that? Why does Meghan look like she's saying hi to someone she knows? Why is there a fucking doorman at Hertz? That is not a thing. When I go on the website and look for rentals available from this Hertz office a week from today, there they are, $325 a day. I think H&M were trying to do their classic double dip. They got a free fleet of SUVs and possibly, probably payment on top of that from Hertz. And they called the Pops on themselves to get the footage to fulfill their Hertz deal. And they probably have a deal with the Pops they call on themselves to get some of the royalties for the photos as well. And then, of course, there's the triple dip on the outfit. As usual, Meghan's mirror had up the $1,850 Johanna Ortiz dress and $1,200 Carolina Herrera clutch bag the moment photos appeared, and both are now sold out at their links. If you don't understand what I mean by double and triple dipping, I'm putting a link to my video on affiliate marketing up in the cards. Click in the upper right-hand corner to watch that one. They earned tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars pretending to be victims. H&M knew they would get more eyes on them and make much more money with some insane storyline like this, and I think that's what this was really about. Okay, so with their payday secured, why were they riding all around town after the award show? You have to buy into 2 assumptions about safety in New York to even begin to believe H&M might have been at all unsafe. First, that safety means not being photographed. Second, that safety means people who might possibly photograph you not knowing where you are. That is the justification they're using for these shenanigans. They had to drive all over creation for 2 hours to lose the Pops. If you are at all unclear on how paparazzi interact with celebrities in New York City, click on the card in the upper right-hand corner to watch my video about last time they faked a paparazzi car chase in New York for their Netflix special. All of that information is still relevant. To make a long story short, punitive laws and restrictions, including jail time, keep paparazzi from getting any closer to an unwilling celebrity than 20 feet away. And paparazzi style photos. Photos that are supposed to look spontaneous are almost always actually arranged in advance between the celebrity or their PR team and the paparazzo or their agent, and the proceeds from the photos are split. E-listers, C-listers do this for the money. A-listers do it to get their own image and narrative out there at critical points in their career or personal life. Countless celebrities from AAA list to Z list live in New York. They almost all do this. If you've ever wondered why people like Jay-Z and Beyonce aren't getting into catastrophic car chases with paparazzi, it's because they didn't call them. They don't need the money. They don't need the publicity. It's a business, not a battlefield. If they feel like they're looking really fine one afternoon and want to show the world, they can go to lunch at Bar Pitti or some other celeb haunt where the pops are always standing outside and everyone knows it. No one will follow them home. Definitely no one will follow them home in a near catastrophic car chase. Yeah, if you haven't checked out that video, check it out. But back to H&M on the night in question. First, assumptions first. As we've established, they specifically chose the least safe available method and entry point to the Ziegfeld Theater in order to make money by being photographed. So they're willing to exchange degrees of safety and they're willing to be popped for dollars, both in general and on this very night. There's an article in the New York Post hilariously titled, "Harry Meghan got into car chase because they're too cheap for a hotel source." Obviously, because no actual crimes were committed by anyone except perhaps H&M themselves. During their investigation of the quote-unquote car chase, the first question the police asked was, where are you staying and what safety problems did you have getting there? According to the police source, quote, Harry and Meghan's people called the Carlisle ahead of the trip and asked for a discounted room, and the hotel said no. They should have just gotten a hotel for the safety of everyone. Instead, they were cheap and wanted a free place to stay. They put regular people's lives at risks because they're cheap. If they had just paid up and got a hotel in the first place, the supposed dangerous paparazzi chase around town would never have happened. They would have driven back to the Carlisle, been photographed going inside, and that would have been the end of it. End quote. I don't think there's any reason for an off-duty cop to lie or provide a salacious tale he might get fired over. And I find it very funny that H&M genuinely don't know the difference between businesses they need and businesses that need them. The audacity of asking for a discount. They probably weren't even the only foreign royals requesting the princess suite at the Carlisle for that week. I guarantee you, any teeny bopper influencer you see at Bemelman's bar is paying dearly for the experience. Now, let me take you back to West 54th to share another reason I believe this story about the Carlisle, and I believe that they wanted to be photographed and they didn't particularly care about their safety. So here we are on West 54th. You can see the Ziegfeld Ballroom, the parking garage, the loading dock. Let's turn around. What is the building right next door? Oh, it's got a carriage entrance where you can drive all the way to the back unseen if you're a VVIP and safety is your primary concern. Oh, it's the super luxury 5-star Conrad Hotel. Literally right next door. 302 feet away. A 1-minute walk according to Google Maps. And let's see if the rooms are worthy of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. The 1,200 square foot atrium suite, 1,800 square foot apartment suite, 2,700 square foot penthouse. Let's take a 360 tour. What do you think? Do you think these places are luxurious and safe enough for H&M? Or are these just disgusting hovels where the poors risk our lives night after night? Okay, so I think I've established beyond a reasonable doubt that this was not about having somewhere safe, nice, and convenient to stay. They could have stayed at this Conrad Hotel next door and been literally invisible, coming and going. They chose not to. So here they are leaving the Ziegfeld Ballroom. Meghan especially looks pleased as punch. While it may seem like a lot of flashes from a lot of cameras, they're actually 8 professional photographers here. 4 called it a night after H&M got into the car, and according to Backgrid, 3 photographers followed in cars and 1 on a bicycle. It seems like a lot because their cameras take 30, 40 pictures per minute. You can see very clearly in these pictures, they planned this, they love it. But hey, maybe Meghan spent all their money on designer clothes that don't fit. They needed to go uptown or downtown, we don't know, to stay with a friend for free, but then they don't want anybody to know who that friend is. Newsflash, in New York, everybody knows where famous people live. If you do some simple Google searches for Architectural Digest, Elle Decor, House Beautiful, plus celebrity name, I guarantee you'll be able to get hundreds, maybe thousands of exact addresses. There are also over 10,000 licensed real estate agents just in Manhattan. It took about 5 minutes for them to figure out the apartment in H&M's Netflix special where Meghan had her fitting for her horrible burst tomato dress was 860 UM Plaza. They know the windows, they know the view, they know the radiator covers, they know the ceiling height, they know that galley kitchen layout. It's a very well-known 1960s building. If they check ownership records and spend a day doing a little research, they could come up with a solid guess as to who H&M's host was, or if they were in a super luxe Airbnb also. The whole premise that they needed to protect their friends' privacy is not a thing. In New York, everyone knows. Also, as Bethany Frankel said, if it is a thing for them or their friend because they don't want to be associated with each other, weird. Who is your friend? But yeah, stay at a hotel. They told police they drove out to the FDR Drive on 57th, but then drove all the way back because they were being chased by cops. Thing is, there is no FDR Drive exit on 57th or 58th or 56th. There's a southbound exit on 53rd and 63rd. There's a northbound exit on 61st or 62nd. They just drove out to Sutton Place and drove back. That is extremely odd. Let's say there really were paparazzi chasing them. Wouldn't they want to get on the highway? The paparazzi say they were told by H&M's security that they were going to dinner and they wanted to be photographed going into dinner. It seems to me that H&M went all the way out to Sutton Place and then came all the way back because there had been insufficient opportunities for them to be photographed in the way they hoped, looking doe-eyed, fearful, and relentlessly pursued in the manner of Diana. Because of the laws about paparazzi and because professional camera equipment is so expensive and so heavy and awkward to handle, there is no way anyone was chasing around 3 SUVs with black tinted windows, taking photos while moving. I think H&M were disappointed by this. They thought they were really going to get photographed like some sort of Hollywood chase scene. I think the paparazzi were disappointed too because they thought H&M were going to stop at Mr. Chow's or something and they would get some cute pictures. Instead, their next stop is the 19th Precinct Police Station. I found this interesting because if they were staying at the 860 UN Plaza apartment, the closer police station would actually have been the 17th precinct at First Avenue and East 51st Street. This is obviously pure speculation, but I have a hunch. You know who I think would give them his best suite for free for as long as they wanted, but of course, they have to have dinner and drinks with him and his business contacts? Meghan's long-term dear friend, some say patron, who was invited to her wedding, John Fitzpatrick, owner of the establishment for Irishmen visiting New York, Fitzpatrick Manhattan Hotel on 57th and Lex. Now, John Fitzpatrick is not sketchy that I know about. I don't know. He was awarded an OBE by Queen Elizabeth. If you know of some scandal involving him, some reason he doesn't want to be seen with H&M or vice versa, let me know in the comments below. I mapped their route on Google Maps because obviously I recognize where they were in the videos with the cab driver and the security guard blocking traffic. Just take a look at this map. Doesn't it look like the laziest surveillance detection route you've ever seen? It makes sense, right? They drove up and down 57th, past the hotel, so east and west, hoping to get photographed, and that didn't happen. So then they decided to go north and south, hoping to get photographed. 10 blocks east and west, 10 blocks north and south, make a circle and another circle and another circle, with the goal not of obfuscating attention, but of collecting the desired amount of attention as efficiently as possible before calling it a night. Honestly, who even leaves an award show at 10 p.m.? And then all of this nonsense carried on for another hour, hour and a half. Maybe Harry didn't want to have dinner with him, and this was their excuse. So back to the route. They've been at the Ziegfeld Ballroom, at 57th and the FDR Drive, which again is not a thing. It's Sutton Place, one of the more expensive old neighborhoods in New York. If they actually wanted to get on the FDR Drive, they would have had to turn off 57th 3 blocks earlier. And now they're at the 19th precinct. They left to seem like victims generally, but I believe they wanted to be photographed here because they felt it would help them with their IPP case to prove that they need police protection, even presidential, king level private security, which is what they had. It looks like they had 6 bodyguards and 1 bodyguard slash driver in a fleet of 3 or 4 SUVs. That's the same as King Charles. Is not enough because they're so famous and so preyed upon. Unfortunately, paparazzi are not stupid. They're probably smarter than Harry anyway. And of course, they weren't going to photograph them anywhere near the police station and incriminate themselves. Meanwhile, H&M did not have a crime to report because, as the police said in their statement, on Tuesday evening, May 16, the NYPD assisted the private security team protecting the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. There were numerous photographers that made their transport challenging. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex arrived at their destination, and there were no reported collisions, summonses, injuries, or arrests in regard. In other words, they came to the station to complain about nothing, and we told them we'd call them a cab. We assisted their private security detail in understanding that no one was breaking any laws and asked them to leave. We told them they were welcome to the 4 shitty plastic chairs we have in reception if they wanted to calm their nerves for a moment before they got on the road, etc. I think they were disappointed they didn't get their car chase photos, disappointed they didn't get their police station photos. So they decided to be more visible and basically stop in the middle of the street to be photographed, completely abandoning all pretensions to personal safety, I might add. So one of their security guards hails them a yellow cab. According to their cab driver, they never even gave him their destination.
And as we went a block, we got blocked by a garbage truck, and all of a sudden paparazzis came and started taking pictures. And then they were just about to give me the location where they were gonna go, but then they told me to circle back to the precinct.
In New York, when you get in a cab, they start driving because most of the streets are one way and you can't be stopped in the middle of the street. And most people obviously tell them the destination within their first minute in the cab. But H&M didn't want to go anywhere. They wanted to be photographed. So they didn't tell him the destination and had him circle the block. How many paparazzi do you see in this video? How many garbage trucks do you see in this video? Oh, there's the garbage man, not actually blocking the road. Actually, it was H&M's own security guard stopping the taxi from moving by making the cab driver wait for him while he gets outside and gestures to the other drivers to stop. Let's take a look at this still. How many paparazzi do you see? There was this guy earlier and this guy on the other side. And there's the guy whose film we're viewing. That's it. They're at such a respectful distance, they're not even in each other's frames. The security guard wasn't protecting them from aggressive, obtrusive paparazzi. He was giving the only 3 paparazzi there enough time to take a lot of photos because there weren't many of them. But don't take my word for it. Let's hear it from the cab driver.
Did it feel like the paparazzi were being aggressive?
No. They were behind us. I mean, they stayed on top of us. That was pretty much it. There was nothing more, you know. They kept their distance. It was just like journalists, just like everybody else trying to get pictures, make a quick buck.
You didn't see any cars going over curbs or people banging on
Oh,
your
I didn't
window?
see that. No. That must have happened earlier if they were being chased before, but not with me. Yeah.
So why did they have a police escort then, you may ask? They didn't. Those police cars behind them are not to assist them. East 67th is a one-way street. This brick building beyond the cab is the Park Avenue Armory. According to Google Maps, it is 472 feet from the police station. They are trying to respond to actual calls, and that's why they go in a different direction from H&M when H&M finally move. You'll notice first they turn on the lights. The lights are the signal, get moving. When they turn on the sirens, it means get the fuck out of the way or you're getting fined. So having circled the block and getting what they must have felt were pretty good victim pictures, and finishing up what they must have felt was a pretty good Princess Diana cosplay photo shoot, they circled back to the police station, got out of the cab, and got back into their fleet of SUVs. At this point, the paparazzi are no longer of use to them, so they genuinely don't want to be followed and photographed. And they have one of their drivers block off traffic with their SUV 2 blocks away from the police station. You know the famous subreddit, Am I the Jerk? Listen to this conversation between the police officer and the paparazzo and tell me who has been driving dangerously, the H&M security detail or the paparazzi. And then tell me if police were assisting H&M because they totally thought they had a legitimate concern and complaint, or if the police are considering prosecuting H&M because they were completely out of line endangering New Yorkers.
Thank you guys, because this guy is...
What's going on?
He's crazy right now.
What happened?
We're I'm recording, just FYI, but I'm a paparazzi. I don't know who this guy is, but he's been doing the craziness all day.
If you're curious about where they are here, it's Madison Avenue between 67th and 68th. That's 2 blocks and a right turn past the police station, and they're already acting like assholes. Guess they thought when those cops turned to the other way that there weren't more cops behind them. Obviously there were. Just look at this, physically blocking at least the middle lane with their SUV, a million orange cones in front of nothing. I believe that's a Giuseppe Zanotti store on the left. I honestly think H&M paid them so much money and told them to give some sort of brand performance to support their IPP case. And that's what these guys were doing. These guys were not protecting VIPs. These guys were performing the wildest stunts they ever learned for money. And they're lucky they haven't been arrested yet. So the trail ends there, but I think Harry finished his evening with at least 2 pints of Guinness. Meghan probably shot herself up with Ozempic and then Googled her name for 4 hours. Yeah, dumb statements aside, I hope that this clarified for you exactly how catastrophic their night really was. Is it a chase if it's 3 guys following you at or below the legal speed, at or beyond the legal distance? Let me know in the comments below. And tomorrow I will deal with the statements, the interpretation, the believers, the backlash. Yeah, toodles. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.